Hey guys, it's Dave from Go Big, and welcome to another episode of the Community Spotlight. This is where I look back at the past few videos, pick some comments, and answer them for you right here on YouTube. So let's just dive right into it. Our first comment, this was on the PSA order I recently got back from PSA, the Star Wars PSA order, and this is from Shane the Punisher. Holy crap, I wasn't expecting a 10 on my window. Thanks, Dave, for sending it out with your submission. Sincerely, Maul's Whispering Eye, with a laughy face. So, guys, Shane the Punisher is a, real life friend of mine. I see him, many times during the week, and he got that card on a Whatnot stream from Popcorn Culture, and he said, should I grade this thing? I said, absolutely. I'll send it in with my new order. This was back in March, and ended up getting a 10 on a gold foil icon set from 1999 for the first episode of Star Wars. So Shane, you're welcome, dude. I'm glad you got it, and I'm happy to help you get that cool graded card that you can put into your collection. So, all right. Next question comment comes from Jim Gonzalez. My question, because I'm not familiar with earlier Star Wars cards, is when you say a card is rare, is it low number production or low submission to grading? Jim, that's a really good question. So I'll try not to make this really long. So, depending what you mean by earlier Star Wars. So if we go back to like the 77, the 80s, and the 83s, like the early stuff, they were produced. There were so many. There's so many vintage cards out there. A lot of them are in bad shape. So if a card would be rare in that case, it would be something about a rare as far as the grade. A high grade on those cards would be rare because the cards are old and people didn't take care of them the way they should have, or we didn't know to take care of them back then. When you start going into the 93 and newer, like Star Wars Galaxy, there's definitely low production on some of those sets. If you look at the series 4, 5, 6, maybe even into 7, probably into 7, the amount of cards that they made were lower because the popularity wasn't as high. And those sets have grown to be very, very popular. So you're going to have a low production there. Again, non-sports cards, a lot of collectors are PCing the cards, putting them in their personal collection. A lot of sports collectors, do the same thing, but there's a lot of flipping in sports. So you're seeing more cards being liquid and more cards being sold and resold and graded. Where the Star Wars cards, someone might grade a 10 on something and then that thing gets socked away. And the reason I think there's a difference when you look at sports and non-sports is that Darth Vader, for instance, Darth Vader as a character is never going anywhere. Darth Vader, I've said this before, and again, I'm not trying to bag on sports players. Please don't take it this way. But Darth Vader's never going to get a DUI. Darth Vader's never going to get arrested. Darth Vader's never going to get caught gambling. Darth Vader's never going to blow an ACL. So when you have a character from a franchise like Star Wars, the card in general is just, I think, more collectible and there's a little bit more safe versus a sports player that week to week could change unless you have like a Hall of Famer. So there's lots of different things. There's low population of grades. There's low, population of high grades. There's low printing. So I guess it all depends on what Star Wars set you're looking at. But there's a lot of answers to that question, Jim, and hopefully I helped you clear it up a little bit. All right. Next question, or comment, I should say, is from Jason. Jason says, I'm looking to start with Star Wars card collecting and really like the Star Wars Galaxy cards from 2025. Is that a good place to start? Yes. 24 and 25 Galaxy is a really good place to start if you ask me, because you can buy those singles really cheap. Again, I'm not trying to promote myself, but my eBay store has those singles on there. The nice thing I like about Star Wars Galaxy, especially anything that's 21 or later. 21, don't start your collecting on 21. Those are expensive. Make sure you know what you're looking for before you start investing in those. But anything from 21 later is a Chrome card. So it's a high quality card, good stock. There have been a few, cards I've seen some quality issues on, but overall, if you like collecting Star Wars cards, Galaxy's tough to beat. The artwork's outstanding, and pretty much almost every character that Star Wars has ever had has some kind of card in Galaxy. So yes, I think 24 and 25 Galaxy is really good, especially because the new Galaxy just is coming out, and that's going to help keep the values a little bit lower on those 24 and 25s now until those cards start to age well and they start to increase. So Jason, yes, start with Galaxy. That's my opinion. The next comment, The Vigil. Dave, love the newer camera angles you've been doing in between rips. Well, thank you. Third camera, more work, more editing, but I'm trying something different. So I appreciate the feedback because you're the first person that said, at least I thought I read that you liked that. Question, do you make money on the cards that are 99 cents to $2 to $3 after shipping? Don't you end up losing money? How do you ship so cost effectively? Okay, so here's what I will say about those cards. There are people on eBay that specialize in selling lots of lower end cards, and they do it very well. To me, it's one of the things I don't like to do, to be honest with you. I don't, and again, I'm not telling you not to buy a card from me, but if someone buys one card at 99 cents and then they pay 73 cents for the shipping, it's a lot of work and money for me to ship that card. I like when people come in and buy 4, 5, and 6 cards from me. It's just better off for me. But to answer your question, I'm not worried about making money on the 99 cent cards because here's why. With what I do, which is YouTube, eBay, whatnot, and then social media, YouTube is the pillar of everything I do. Everything comes back to this YouTube channel 100%. And if I can send out a 99 cent card, and I mean, I pack them very well. There's 2 different ways I pack them. I either use a card saver with an envelope. I put my business card in there. I put a note in there, QR codes to all of my different socials and platforms. And then if it's more than 2 cards, I'll use the eBay envelope for shipping, the eBay standard envelope. It's 43 cents an envelope. So it's a big cost on a 99 cent card after eBay takes their fees. But if it's multiple cards, I'll use that envelope. But my whole thing is I want that customer to see, number one, that I took good care of their card. I want them to come back and buy more from me. But number 2, I want them to find their way here. That's why I have a QR code that they can scan that takes me right to the YouTube channel. So for me, selling the 99 cent cards is advertising. That's how I look at it. But again, there are eBayers that do really well selling those cards. It's just a lot of work. It's a lot of storage. But if you're doing it full time, it could be something that you could make money on. You just have to be careful how you do it. Card scanners are great for that kind of a thing. So yes, I don't look at that as a money making thing. I look at it as advertising. Okay. Next comment. This is from Blu-ray Authority. You're clearly not too attached to the Rocket Raccoon card as you've got it on eBay. So, Blu-ray Authority. Hello, I'm Dave. This is from the 26 Topps Chrome Marvel Mega Box where I pulled the Rocket Raccoon. So the Rocket Raccoon, that particular card is 1 out of every 43,000 boxes. So it's extremely rare card to pull from a Mega Box. It's 1 out of every 11,000 out of hobbies. So again, still pretty rare. So again, I may have mentioned it, but if I just opened boxes and kept everything, I would totally be bankrupt. So, yes, I am not attached to the Rocket the Raccoon card. Not saying it's a bad card, but a card like that is something that I can sell that, and then that money can be funneled back into YouTube. And that allows me to buy more product when it comes out and have more content. Because very rarely, again, I don't need to get into the financials as far as what my business is, but very rarely does a YouTube video generate enough revenue from advertising from YouTube to pay for the product I open. So I have to sell product to reinvest back into the channel. Now, as I get more subscribers and more views and make more content, then that will change, and that's my goal. But yes, I'm not attached to Rocket Raccoon, and I hope that somebody out there that is a big collector of Rocket Raccoon gets that card and puts it in their PC and keeps it forever, because that's what I wanted them to do. So hopefully that answers your question. And who we got next? Last one. Chaotic Rage 420. Hello. In my opinion, grading is a complete scam. The only thing they should be doing is authenticating. Who on this planet can tell a 10 from a 9 with only their naked eyes? Nobody. Only person judging the condition is a buyer. Cards don't need to be perfect for me to enjoy them. In fact, it's quite the opposite. I like my cards to have character. So, I will not make this a very long discussion because it can turn that way. So, first of all, I don't think grading is a scam. Just overall, with grading, it is subjective to the person that is looking at the card. And no, they don't just look at it with over their eyes. If you guys do some research about grading, like for instance, Tag is one. They have all sorts of equipment that looks at these cards. There's reports from Tag as an example where you can see everything down to the molecule on these cards. They use microscopes, they use magnifying glasses, they check for centering, they check for edges, surface. There's so many things they check. So number one, if you think that someone just looks at a card by their naked eye without the help of equipment, that's false, okay? As far as human error in grading, it's there. Again, a discussion for another time maybe because it can get too long. But so why do I grade? Number one, for me, I like my cards to be protected. So an encapsulated card to me is really cool. For me, that's me. Everybody's different. So I like the card to be encapsulated. I like to have things that are unique and rare. So if I have a card, let's say there's only been 3 graded to 10 and I have one of them, that to me is pretty cool. It's also cool for me because I do a lot of my own submissions. Well, I submit a lot of cards. So if I go and try to collect all these cards and I go through them and I inspect them and I find the one that I think's the best and I send it out and it gets a 10, like that's so cool to me. Like I put all that work in to trying to find the card, to look over the cards and then send the one that I think is going to get a 10 and it gets a 10 because it's a lot cheaper for me to do it that way than it is to buy the 10 in most cases. So to me, that's fun. That's why I collect. It's fun to find a card that I like and then find the perfect copy of it and get it in a 10. But if you've ever seen videos on my sports card channel or on this channel, I talk about my collection. I have a PSA 1 or 2 Hank Aaron, and that card is horrible. And I got it graded because a family member who has long passed away gave me my first set of cards I ever had, and there's a Hank Aaron in there. And the card's horrible, and there's really no reason to grade it, but I wanted that card protected, and it's in a case, it's encapsulated, and I'll never get rid of it, and I didn't care what the grade was because that's an important card to me. So, some cards I want to look at the grading part of it, other times I just want them secure in that case. Plus, when they're in a graded case, it is authenticated. That's the other thing. So you have an authentic card. Now, I agree with you that there's cards that I don't care the condition. I don't care if they're graded. People like to use binders, top loaders, card savers, all sorts of things, mags, one touches, So I don't think grading's a scam. I think we're in a really interesting time with grading. There's a lot of companies coming up, and I think you're going to start seeing some changes. But for me, as running a business and getting the most return for my money on a graded card right now, you can't argue this, is PSA. You can't. There are some grading companies that are coming close. I hope that the competition stays really tough because, for instance, I really like a Tag slab better. I like the Tag grading report better. I like everything about Tag better than PSA. But at the end of the day, a Tag 10 and a PSA 10, you can tell me they're close or the same, but they're not. PSA is going to bring more money for your card right now. PSA also grades vintage, which Tag doesn't, okay? So I hope things change. I hope we get more variety. But for right now, for me, what I'm trying to do is create a business and build something for myself. I am protecting my money and getting the most out of my money by sending to PSA, okay? So there you guys go. There's the community spotlight. Again, if you want to be involved in this, all you got to do is throw up some comments, and maybe next week I'll pick it. and we can talk about it here on YouTube. But I appreciate you guys so much. Make sure you're throwing up a like, throw up the hype points if you can. Give me a comment, give me a share to someone that hasn't seen the channel before, and we'll see you next Thursday. But while you're waiting for more content, make sure you check this one out here. YouTube recommends it just for you. We'll see all you guys in the next one. Peace.